Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, or as John Campea has called me, your existential Mr. Rogers, Robert Meyer Burnett, and this is a John Campea Show mailbag for Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. Shout out to my lovely lady, Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell. She turns 50 today. Can you believe it? Half a century old. I love telling her she's half a century old. She wants to deck me whenever I say that, but it's true, babe. What can I say? As everyone knows, when you watch the John Campea Show live every weekday, we open up Super Chats for a very short period of time. You send us in questions, comments, what have you, and we only take enough that we can answer them on the show. But if you want to just send in a question or a comment, you can anytime, 24/7. We have operators just like MI6 has all the double O's surrounding the world. We have that too. We have operatives just like that they're waiting to accept your comments, criticisms, whatever you want. And you can send them in whenever you want at that link down below. And if we deem your questions appropriate, we'll read them right here on the mailbag. I might, John might, Jonathan gives me the questions. Ray might one day do a show, but right now you got me, and here we go. Let's see what you have to say. Jonathan Namila, our friend Jonathan. Jonathan, you are a great supporter of this channel, and we thank you for that. Jonathan says, hello, Rob. A glorious day has happened. My best friend has gone from digital media fan to back to physical media after he learns all digital movies and TV shows are licensed and can go at any time with no ownership. He has seen the amazing quality on disc. Well, Jonathan, as you know, I'm a huge fan of physical media. I do a show every week with Dieter Bastian from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, and it's called Let's Get Physical Media. It's on Sundays at 11 on my own YouTube channel. Tune in, find out what we bought that week. But you're absolutely right. I mean, when you own something, it's yours. You own it. Digital media is ephemeral. It can be taken away from you whenever you want, whenever you might not want it to go. We've seen that happen over and over again. And yeah, I mean, look, streaming is getting better and better and better all the time. Picture is almost there. A lot of the time it's the audio that suffers. But when you have 4K discs with Dolby Vision, UHD, there's nothing better right now, especially if you have a really decent home surround sound system, which I do. I do like discs better than streaming. One day it'll get there, but I think we're going to have discs. I'd give it maybe 10 years on the outside. Probably a lot sooner than that. Thanks to the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, we'll have physical media for a while. Luckily, I'll probably have it around until I'm dead because I'm that close to my last days on Earth. Kidding. But I'm still buying discs. But you're right. It's a great opportunity to collect movies. And plus, there's so much great stuff coming out on physical media in premium packaging. And they're really going back and remastering a lot of old cult films, a lot of old favorites. Again, you have to have a player, but it's a great time to be a physical media fan. Maybe there's never been a better time because so many movies are getting the 4K treatment. They're being beautifully remastered, and they come with lots of cool swag and in cool boxes that look great on a shelf. So Casey McNatt says, hey, John and crew, I was wondering if you've seen the trailer for the newest A24 horror movie called Pearl, starring Mia Goth, which can be remembered in being an X. Overall, it looks very interesting, and I swear A24 really has been able to hook us. Casey, I got to tell you, not 5 minutes before I recorded this mailbag that you're watching right now, I asked John if he'd seen the trailer for Pearl. Man, does it look good. You know, there's nothing better than a murderous farm girl who looks to go too far to pique my interest. Now, I don't know if somebody said to me, is this a prequel to X or something? I love that it has this Hollywood vibe. You know, a girl wants to go to the big city and become a big star, and bad stuff happens. It really looks bonkers. I really love the trailer. I can't wait to see this movie. And like you said, A24, man, is killing it. Whether they're putting out stuff like Lamb or Alex Garland's movie Men or The Witch, or I mean, they're an incredible company. And whoever is picking up their films, they do a great job. I'm a big fan. Obviously, they'd put out Ty West's previous movie X, and I can't wait to see Pearl. What a great trailer! If you haven't seen the trailer yet, all of you watching me now, go watch the trailer for A24's Pearl. I'm sure it will put a smile on your face. Alan Gonzalez says, I never liked the idea of Killmonger being the Black Panther like a lot of people are saying, but just maybe it happens. Hear me out. T'Challa died but came back in Killmonger's body? I don't know. That would be the only way I would see it happen. Thank you. Alan, I got to tell you, Killmonger is a murderous psychopath. Now, I love Michael B. Jordan. I mean, I've told people that if I could be another human being on this planet, I'd want to be Michael B. Jordan. He's a very handsome dude. He first popped on my radar during he was on Friday Night Lights, the latter season of Friday Night Lights, or the latter. Maybe it was the last season, maybe, or maybe it was, I don't remember which season of Friday Night Lights he was on. And before that, I'd seen him in The Wire, and I thought he was just an incredible performer. But you know, I think he really came into his own with Creed. He's directing Creed 3, so that's really exciting. He's a smart guy. But I do think his character, Killmonger, I mean, that guy was a straight up, maybe one of the best villains of the MCU. But he was a murderous psychopath. I mean, every one of those scars he had represented somebody he killed. And while I didn't frame grab his whole body from Black Panther and count how many scars he had, but he killed a lot of people. He's not a good man. At least his character is not a good man. So I don't know if I guess T'Challa could re-inhabit his body, and then you'd have Michael B. Jordan channeling Chad Boseman. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. I mean, maybe they will. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't like the idea of Killmonger coming back, even if it's supposed to be inhabited by the spirit of T'Challa. I'm not digging that. I don't want that to happen. So I'm kind of with you. Alejandro sends in a tip and says, regarding the Black Panther trailer, 1, am I right in that no Marvel trailer has ever had less dialogue? Only one line. And 2, is this one line the best delivered line in any MCU film? That "have I not given everything" is unbelievable. Well, Alejandro, you and I park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay, because I agree. First of all, Angela Bassett can do no wrong. If you've never seen the movie Strange Days, where she co-stars with Ralph Fiennes, it was directed by Catherine Bigelow, written by James Cameron and Jay Cox. That film is a favorite of mine, and you should check it out. She's incredible in that, too. I love Angela Bassett. I've loved Angela Bassett for the better part of 30 years. She's an incredible performer. I love the fact that they cast her as basically T'Challa's mom, the queen of Wakanda. And you are right. I don't know. I mean, this was only a teaser trailer. It was our first glimpse of the movie, but she's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I'm right there with you. It might be the greatest line reading of all time, at least all time in the MCU. You are not wrong. Alejandro, you and I, well, we come from the same, I don't know, opinions, I guess. You know who else comes from the same opinion as my mother? The folks at Athletic Greens, who will make sure you eat your vegetables, even though you don't have to eat your vegetables. So Athletic Greens, thank you for sponsoring today's episode of the Mailbag.
Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. Now, when you get really busy, and you guys know that Ann and I are really busy, one of the first things that you sacrifice is eating healthy. And you know, I simply have never eaten enough vegetables in my diet, I admit it. So for a long time, I've been looking for a really good all-in-one supplement that helps me get those nutrients and vitamins that my body needs. And thank goodness I found Athletic Greens AG1. So what is Athletic Greens AG1? Well, with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, and probiotics to help you start your day right. And for me and Ann, it's easy. We get up in the morning, we pour a big glass of water and add 1 scoop of AG1. So many people today are taking some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. And it's cheaper than getting all those different supplements yourself. And on top of giving you all those vitamins and nutrients, it also supports better sleep and quality of recovery, and supports mental clarity and alertness. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/mailbag. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/mailbag to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
And thank you to our sponsors at Athletic Greens. If you hate vegetables as much as I do, they're a great alternative. Marie Seifring. Marie, how are you today? Marie says, hey, John or Rob. In the Wakanda Forever trailer, we don't know when Ramonda says her family is gone. Both T'Challa and Shuri dusted. We don't actually know how far back Black Panther 2 goes to pick up the story from Black Panther 1. Thanks. You know what, Marie? It never occurred to me until you just said this, that she could absolutely very well be talking about that the movie starts during the dusting, sometime in the 5 years, which I think would be really interesting, considering that after the first Black Panther, Wakanda revealed itself to the world, and they opened embassies, and it would be really interesting. What would be the ramifications? I mean, Wakanda would be a huge political player on the world stage, and maybe that's what we're seeing. We're seeing her addressing the United Nations during that 5-year blip period of time. I never thought about that. That's really interesting. You know, smart. It's very smart, because people said, well, what about Shuri? She didn't die. So maybe it makes sense that they were both dusted. I like the way you think, Marie. I'm absolutely interested to find out if that's true. Never occurred to me. Sam Fisher says, so they've already said that they're bringing back Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio for Daredevil Born Again, but are they going to bring back Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Woll? Do you bring back Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Woll as Foggy and Karen? You know what, Sam? I've been seeing a lot of chatter about this online. I love Eldon Henson as Foggy Nelson, and I like Karen Page as well. Again, I don't know what they're going to do. I think, I believe that these characters, whether stated or not, they're the same characters from the Netflix show. I mean, why not do that? And if they're going to do that, why not bring back your great supporting cast? They might not want to go in that direction, but I don't see how you can have Matt Murdock without Foggy Nelson. I really don't. So, I mean, Karen Page might be taken off the stage. I don't know what they're going to do with her, but I think you got to bring back Foggy, don't you? I mean, I don't know, but I'd really like to know. I don't know how that's going to go down, but it's definitely something that they should consider, because I really love that character. He was great. So was Karen. Sam Fisher goes on to say, so with William Hurt dying, he obviously isn't going to be in the Thunderbolts. I saw someone suggest a replacement for him, Ed Helms, or maybe Ed Harris. Ed Helms, I guess so, but Ed Harris. Whether it's recast or he would be playing a new character and just taking on Ross's place wasn't clear, but I love the idea. Maybe you were talking Ed Helms, but I was thinking maybe you meant Ed Harris. I mean, look, I've loved Ed Harris since I saw him in George Romero's movie Night Riders from, 42 years ago or something? I think it was not 81, so 41 years ago. I've loved Ed Harris for the better part of 50 years. He's incredible. Put him in anything. You might have meant Ed Helms, and I could be wrong, but put him in that too. I mean, obviously Ed Harris is the Man in Black in Westworld, but I think it's a great idea. They're gonna have to recast. I don't know if they're gonna have Thunderbolt Ross, but they're gonna have to recast somebody. So we shall see. I don't know. Hobbit Feet sends in a tip and says, hey all, friend and I had a debate the other day, and I would like your input. Were the trailers for Iron Man 3 false advertising or just a harmless misdirect regarding the Mandarin? Well, I mean, look, I would say a harmless misdirect. I mean, trailers are supposed to intrigue you. They're not necessarily supposed to tell you the truth. They're marketing tools, and I think that they can say whatever they want to say. a lot of people say, well, remember, there have been, in my lifetime, there have been many trailers. I've seen many trailers that have footage in the trailers that gets cut out of the final movie. And you wonder, wait, what? When did that happen? But that happens all the time because they have to make trailers months in advance. There's a long lead time. So they'll get a version of the movie that the editorial staff and the director are working on. And sometimes those scenes get cut out. So when you see a trailer, it might have stuff in it that wasn't in the final film. So I don't necessarily think it's not a misdirect. I don't think that you should ever feel bad. It's not like it was in Yesterday. There was fans that wanted to sue the film company because Ana de Armas did not show up in the final version of Yesterday. She is in the deleted scenes if you have the disc, though. And I just think that's just Hollywood history. It's happened a lot. Don't think of it. You're not being ripped off. And I guess call it a misdirect if you want, because they certainly use trailers all the time to misdirect you from knowing enough about a film. And sometimes they make films look like they're actually really good when they really suck, but they have a great trailer. And that, I would say, is a total misdirect, but you got to hand it to the trailer company, because if they can make a bad movie look good, I say more power to them. And I might feel a little bamboozled when I walk out of a bad movie, but hey, it's not so bad, right? Trailers are cool. Let's see, is this six CYX 6 says with the stuff going around about the MCU not being able to replace the previous X-Men actors until 2025, why were they able to use Patrick Stewart and Doctor Strange as Professor X unless the implication is that he also has one of those contracts? Well, I bet he didn't, because he didn't re-up for X-Men Dark Phoenix. He was done. His contract was probably over. Now, we don't know if that's actually true, but I would imagine that Patrick Stewart coming back, he didn't have, you don't sign Patrick Stewart to a 3 or 5 picture deal. He's probably, one and done. So when they brought him back for Logan, it was probably a contract for that movie alone. And then, of course, he was then free, whatever anybody's contracts are, to be hired again to be Professor X in Multiverse of Madness. So I think that he whereas Dark Phoenix, they probably thought, okay, Dark Phoenix is going to be good. We're going to launch another 3 or 4 X-Men movies. Why wouldn't they think that? And so they signed everybody up for to do 3 or 4 more films up through a certain date. That's what I'm thinking. Now, I don't know. We don't know if that's true. It's just been heard. We've just heard that. It's still it's a weird thing, but it doesn't mean it's out of the realm of possibility. I mean, you hear that Sam Jackson gets signed for like 9 Marvel movies. He's going to make an appearance as Nick Fury in 9 films, which can happen. I mean, but whether it actually happened with the X actors, I don't know. And I think, again, Patrick Stewart, he probably wasn't signed up for 3 movies. They would sign up for individual films. So that's why he was able to appear in Multiverse of Madness. So that's what I would think. Phillips says, I find interesting many comments saying Multiverse of Madness was a failure. It made almost $1 billion without China and Russia. I wish for a failure like that in my life. I love Elizabeth Olsen and Anne Hathaway. I don't care what fans say. I love her as Catwoman. Well, look, Phillips, I think you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter what universe you live in. A movie that almost makes $1 billion is not a failure. And I don't think it's really understood when so many movies, half the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it seems like, made $1 billion. So everyone's like, well, it has to. I mean, before Phase 4 started, with the 23 Infinity Saga films, if you averaged out the price, so you took the total box office, worldwide box office generated by all the 23 movies and averaged it out by the 23 films, you would get $1 billion each. So that's why people are fixated on that $1 billion number. But still, for Doctor Strange to make that much money, it was a hit. It was a big hit. And it made a lot more money than the first one by hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's a hit all the way around. And as far as I like Anne Hathaway and I like Elizabeth Olsen, and I have hot toys of both of them. So, hey, what can I say? Garden Variety Vagabond says, I just read in Backstage and on the Marvel Studios casting website that Echo is filming in Atlanta through September scenes that include Native Americans, and they're looking for competitive powwow dancers, singers, and royalty. Must say that I did not see that one coming. Well, if she is an indigenous, her character is an indigenous person, First Nations, depending on where you're at, call that what you will. So it makes sense. And I again, one of the things that the Marvel Universe has been doing exceedingly well is representation. And it's the kind of representation that people can't yell and bitch about because it's politically correct. It's legitimate representation. So the fact that they're looking for authentic actors to come play these roles, or to even be background players, or to create a universe that you can believe in, I gotta give it up. I gotta give it up for Marvel for doing that, for looking for those actors, because I think it's great and it adds an authenticity to what they're doing that I think a lot of the time does not get the kind of respect that they deserve. So kudos to Marvel for doing that, and hopefully, a lot of those people will be employed and get some of that fat Marvel Studios cash, taken from the Disney coffers. Everyone's got to get paid. So that's exciting. I like that. Garden Variety Vagabond goes on to say, Hall Henry may have lost its name, but maybe for other reasons. Reports came out that Henry Cavill has delays shooting The Witcher in London starting Monday as he has COVID. So he may have planned to be at Comic-Con, but couldn't due to the same reason. Please, I don't know if that's for a second question, but let me tell you, I think we should just call it Hall H, Hall Henry. Hall H should just be permanently named, at least on this show, Hall Henry, because if it is true that he couldn't show up because of COVID, first of all, good on him for caring enough about us not to show up. And secondly, he in my mind, he's there. In my head canon, Henry Cavill was at Comic-Con 2022. He just was. And you know what? Wasn't he with us all in spirit, really? I think he was. Digital Ronin sends in a tip and says, if Namor the Naughty Boy is invading Wakanda, the one dude I would absolutely want on my team to fade these ops is Killmonger. I don't think he's in the movie, but man, what a vicious matchup that would be. Well, Digital Ronin, Killmonger's dead. But yeah, I mean, look, if you're going to war with another country, Eric Killmonger is the man, the myth, the legend. I would like to have him on my side. But he is no longer with us. We'll see if he's on the astral plane, the ancestral plane. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know. I don't know how all that kind of stuff works, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe during Phase 4, I wouldn't be surprised if anybody comes back from the dead, if their spirits rise, if they come. Maybe he'll come having taken over a Celestial. I do not know, but you're right. If you're going to go to war with the Atlanteans or the Toucan Sams, I don't know what they're calling that nation, but wherever they're from, however it's going to happen, it's going to be a great fight, though. I can't wait. Jesse C. says, hey, guys, good news, bad news for Daredevil, the show. Good news is that it's 18 episodes. Bad news is that each episode is a Quibi. Laugh out loud, 15 minutes or less. Can you imagine if that happens, a total of a 4-hour runtime? You know what? I don't think that's the case. I think the one thing about Daredevil is they have the Netflix 13-episode series to emulate. So I don't think anyone's going to accept or expect, or both, anything less than what they've previously seen. I mean, look, Daredevil was by far, I thought, the best of the Marvel shows on Netflix. Although I really loved the first season of Jessica Jones, I like Punisher, and I did like Luke Cage. But I think general consensus is Daredevil's the best. So I think Marvel's going to want their show to be at least as good. So they'll probably follow the format and the running time as a template. So I don't think it's going to be the Quibi version of an MCU show, because that would suck. You know, I relentlessly made fun of Quibi for years. I knew it was a bad idea, and it was revealed to be a bad idea. They were out the door. So, yeah. But no Quibi-sized Daredevil episodes for me, thank you very much. And I don't think we have to worry about that. I really don't. Let's see. Sino10101 says, Rob, I started For All Mankind, and I'm on episode 4. But whenever I see Karen, she always acts like a NASA supervisor more than just a wife. She tears down Tracy for training being hard, berates Ed for work issues. Am I missing something? No. Karen Baldwin is literally a Karen. She is. And all I can tell you is that in the 3 seasons of For All Mankind that we have, Karen Baldwin has a great arc. A great arc. And by the end of certainly by season 3, I guarantee you, you will love her. But yeah, she's got a complete stick up her ass in season 1. And she's annoying AF. I mean, she's beautiful, but annoying. And you're absolutely right. She acts like a NASA administrator. But remember, like, she's conservative. All the astronauts back then were kind of conservative. She's the wife of a pilot that became a test pilot. You know, Ed Baldwin was shot down in Korea during the Korean War. So Karen's put up with a lot. But her arc in the show, I guarantee you, is one of the great arcs of the show. You're going to love it. You love her. And don't take my word for it. You're only in the 4th episode of season 1. Report back. Tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, you tell me to F off. But I think you're going to like where Karen goes. Except you're not going to like where she goes in the 2nd season. You're going to be like, wait, don't do that, Karen. Why'd you? Oh, man. But overall, you're going to like her arc. You will. Hercules Espinoza sends in a $50 tip. Hercules Espinoza, with a name like that, I should have expected you to do something extraordinary. You're Hercules, after all. Thank you for that. Thank you for supporting the channel like that. We here at the John Campea Show do very much appreciate that. So, Hercules, what do you got for us? There is a theory of Wakanda Forever that Dr. Doom is the main villain. What are your thoughts, Hercules? I don't subscribe to that theory. I think Dr. Doom could very well be in the film. And you know what? You know that it's funny because an earlier question about what Angela Bassett's, her dialogue, I've lost my family. It would be very interesting. We see, it looks like there's some United Nations scene. I could see Victor Von Doom, the head of Latveria, being in that scene. And that could be his intro because, you know, remember, Black Panther was introduced in Civil War, and we first met him when he was with his father, T'Chaka, also addressing the United Nations. So it would make sense that Mama would talk to those bodies, and Victor Von Doom, if he's in the movie, as has been rumored, it's going to be a small part, but that's how they're going to introduce him. The same way they introduce characters in other movies, then blow them up in movies of their own. I think he's definitely going to be in the movie. I really do believe that but it's going to be a cameo. He's not the main villain. Unless, of course, he is, and I'm totally wrong. And then you can write me back and say, Rob, I'm not listening to you anymore. What do you know? But Hercules, once again, thank you so much for supporting the channel in that way. And it's interesting. I mean, look, I want to know. We all are waiting for Dr. Doom. And Dr. Doom is not somebody who's only relegated to the Fantastic Four. He's a world-class Marvel villain. He runs a country, and he is a despot, and I want to see him, put him in everything. But I think if we see him, he's not even going to necessarily be in a suit of armor either. I think he's going to be wearing like a Tom Ford suit, and he's going to be looking great, and he's going to be a diplomat. I think that's how we're going to meet him. Again, I don't know, but I would imagine that's how it's going to go down. Monkey Boy theory. Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars are 2 separate groups. So many characters are being introduced, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a setup for something larger in the next saga. Imagine Team A for one movie and B for the other. They both lose in each movie. That's not a bad idea, but I do think here's something that's kind of exciting. So there are Marvel omnibuses, but before they had a lot of the omnibuses, they would release hardcover collections of various, and I have a lot of these hardcover Marvel collections, and I realized I was going to go back, and I'm like, okay, so the Kang Dynasty storyline ran for 16 issues, and I think it's 16 regular issues and an annual that the Avengers 2001 annual. Turns out your boy here goes home and looks up at his vast collection of graphic novels, and I find out that Avengers Volume 5 of my hardcovers, the entire volume in hardcover is the entire Kang Dynasty saga. So guess what your boy did last night? Bobby B, that's right. I cracked that sucker open for the first time in 20 years, and I'm about halfway through the Kang Dynasty saga, and let me tell you, the hype is real. It's way up here. Reading it again, I'm like, come on. They literally have an orbiting sword of Damocles that's actually an orbiting sword. It's awesome. I really enjoyed it, or at least what I'm reading now. It's a really great story. I don't know how they're going to possibly distill it. I have no idea how they're going to do the MCU version of it, but I'm excited. But I do think, here's the thing. I think, here's how I think it's going to go down. The Kang Dynasty story is epic. I mean, in it, Washington, D.C. gets toasted. It's a huge epic storyline, and then they defeat Kang. But I think it's going to be a much bigger story. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on, and I think the end of the Kang Dynasty movie is the remainder, whoever's left, they're going to get whisked away because it's all part of the multiverse saga. So at the end of Kang Dynasty, all of our players to be named later are going to get whisked away to Battleworld if they go with the Jonathan Hickman version of Secret Wars, which I think they're going to do. So I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to have two separate teams because you're going to need, if they're going to do Secret Wars like that, they need those sprawling characters. And I think that's what's going to happen because it's all part of the multiverse saga. So I would imagine that Kang Dynasty will end, and then instead of being snapped out of existence, they all get whisked away to Battleworld. At least that's how I think it's going to go down. I could be wrong, but especially now after reading the Kang Dynasty again, the comic run, that's how I think it's going to work. So I don't think they are both going to lose in each movie. But it's interesting. Corey R. says, Rob mentioned maybe the 10 rings are from Kang. In Miss Marvel, the bangle was found on a blue arm with the 10 rings engraved in the ground. What if the arm is a dead Kang? I like that. I like that a lot. Carol didn't recognize the rings, so they aren't Kree, meaning maybe the arm isn't. Corey, wouldn't it be interesting if obviously Kang is a time-traveling villain? What if the bangle, the 10 rings, all of that, the reason it's not recognized by anyone is because they haven't met Kang yet. So no one's faced him. I like where you're going with that. I think that's a really interesting way to go. And I think you're probably right because, Wong didn't recognize it. Captain Marvel didn't recognize it. So they're checking out the mystical databases, the technological databases around the galaxy. It makes sense to me because they're technology that either doesn't yet exist because it's from the future or it's from a past that we're no longer connected to. One of those things is probably true. But I like the way you're thinking. You and I park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay, so I dig that. And that, my friends, is the end of this mailbag. All I can say is I'm reading the Kang Dynasty storyline now. It's a lot of fun. My hype now is real. It's gone to 11. And, I want to thank you all for sending in great questions and supporting the channel as you did it. I'm, of course, Robert Meyer Burnett. You can find me on social media. Find me on Instagram at RMBurnett. Find me on Twitter at BurnettRM, or find me at postgeeksingularity.com where you can write me letters. And you can also find me on my own YouTube channel, Post Geek Singularity, and my show, Robservations. Thanks very much. And from the entire team here at the John Campea Show, we say thank you, and especially to producer Jonathan Voico for making the show run so smoothly. Thanks very much, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.